Hey everyone, today Jesus talks about the destruction of the temple. As he came out of the temple, one of his disciples said to him, "Look, teacher, what large stones and what large buildings." Jesus then asked them, "Do you see these great buildings? Not one stone will be left here upon another. All will be thrown down." When he was sitting on the Mount of Olives opposite Peter, James, John, and Andrew, they asked him privately, "Tell us, when will this be, and what will be the sign that all these things are about to be accomplished?" Jesus said, "When you see the desolating sacrilege set up where it ought not to be, let the reader understand. Then those in Judea must flee to the mountains. The one on the housetop must not go down or enter the house to take anything away. The one in the field must not turn back to get a coat. Woe to those who are pregnant or those who are nursing infants in those days. Pray it may not be in winter. For in those days there will be suffering such as not been from the beginning of creation that God created until now. No, and never will be. Truly I tell you, this generation will not pass away until all these things have taken place." So today and then Monday, we're going to look at chapter 13, what's sometimes called the little apocalypse of Mark's gospel. And today's focus is on how Jesus is mostly talking about the destruction of the Jerusalem temple in the year 70 AD, about 40 years after this time where he says all this. Right, so this is not really about end times destruction. It's not describing the rapture. It's an unbiblical idea that is really unworthy of a loving God if you really start breaking all that down. I mean, if you just read this, I know we only heard some verses, but it is pretty clear he's talking about the destruction of the temple. Right? It starts with the disciples kind of gawking at the buildings like tourists, and Jesus says, yeah, this is all going to fall down. And then he says kind of how it's going to happen without giving a specific date. I mean, if this is supposed to be God showing up, why bother running to the mountains? Why would it make a difference whether it's in winter or if you're nursing? But it does make sense if it's a Roman army coming. And besides, Jesus clearly says all this is going to happen within a generation, which it did. So how could Jesus know this is what was going to happen in Jerusalem? You might say, well, he's the Son of God. He knows everything. But that doesn't fully fit with even where he says he doesn't know the dates and the times. I think instead we should focus more on that Jesus has the wisdom to see the trajectory of where Israel's current actions are going to take them. Right? If you keep fighting with the Roman Empire, if you keep poking that bear, it's going to turn around and bite you eventually. And if you keep trusting in these rebel messiahs who are using violence, it's not going to work. That's what Jesus consistently was trying to teach about, to give a new, non-violent way of loving enemies rather than just trying to kill them all. His impending death on a Roman cross is actually all part of this, a challenge to that whole way of thinking. Jesus could predict this because, sadly, he knew that his people wouldn't change. He weeps that Israel won't learn the way of peace. So, will we? Or will we reap destruction because we keep sowing violence too?